Hi guys, it's ASBYT and this is the much anticipated Poco F2 Pro. I've been using it on and off for about 72 hours and these are my first impressions. Firstly, let's see what happened in the quick unboxing, and if you want to see more videos like this, make sure you are subscribed to the channel and you've got your notifications turned on. So the Poco F2 Pro retail box is very similar to the original Poco F1 with the black and yellow colouring. Did the same joke on the Poco F1 video, it wasn't even funny then. Inside we have the manuals and a case, the phone, and the charging cable and 30-watt fast charger. More on battery later. So firstly, appearance-wise, it looks and feels more premium than the Poco F1. With its all-screen display, an almost brushed gunmetal back with circular quad camera setup, more on cameras in a minute, and a flashy red power button. Oh, and there's a headphone jack there as well. So elephant in the room, yes, this is very, very similar to the Redmi K30 Pro, which was released in China a couple of months ago, but there are a couple of differences which we'll get to. Now, the main huge selling point of the Poco F2 Pro is the fact that you're getting that upgraded design, a multiple camera setup, and top tier flagship specs, the likes of the Qualcomm Snapdragon 865, 6GB of RAM and 128GB of storage, and you're getting all of that for just under 500 euros using the link in the video description. And if you don't like this cyber grey colour, I think it comes in 3 other colours as well. So this is the front-facing camera on the Poco F2 Pro, 1080p max at 30 frames a second only, but it looks pretty good so far. Keep an eye out for stabilization as I move around, and also keep an eye out for the HDR quality as well. So we're getting nice details in the shadowy areas, and also is the sky becoming overexposed. So far, looks pretty decent. So no 4K on the front camera, but we do on the rear, including 60 frames per second, and we even have 8K like the £1,200 Samsung Galaxy S20 Ultra. This 8K is available in 24 FPS and 30 FPS, something that the Galaxy S20 Ultra doesn't even have. It's only available in 24 FPS on the Samsung device. Pretty remarkable at this price point. Now yes, the exposure and stabilization isn't great, but the autofocus is pretty decent and it's 8K. If you want better stabilization, drop to 4K, especially 30 FPS, where it's really solid. And the cheeky bonus movie frame mode, like on the OnePlus 8 series, is a nice touch. Now in terms of photography, there are some great points, but also things, of course, that could be improved. Firstly, the setup. We have a 64 megapixel primary lens with f1.9 aperture, a 30 megapixel ultra wide angle lens with f2.4 aperture, and a 123 degree field of view, a 5 megapixel macro lens, and a 2 megapixel depth sensor for your portrait shots, etc. And to be fair, the capabilities on these types of shots has impressed me. The ability to catch moving targets with pretty minimal motion blur is really quite impressive. Yes, it's not pixel-esque, but it's better again than some top tier flagship phones for that style of portrait point and shoot shot. The HDR capabilities are okay without being groundbreaking as seen here, where there's some good detail in the shadows, but bright clouds etc. can be a little bit overexposed at times. The sharpness and detail in standard shots is good, and if you want to, you can also use the 64 megapixel mode if you want that even greater detail. And one thing that I do like, this high megapixel mode doesn't seem to suffer from the same post-processing problems that the Mi Note 10 had, and to some extent, again, the likes of the OnePlus 8 Pro. With those two named examples, I did notice that when you pressed to see that photo you've just taken in the gallery, there was a bit of a lag and a freeze to actually get there. With this, it's fairly instantaneous, again, considering the greater detail in the shot. Good. Now, unfortunately, there is no telephoto lens, which is a bit of a shame. That means that all the zoom is being done digitally and not optically. And as a result, quality will degrade straight away when you begin to zoom in on your focus point. So if you are a massive zoom fan, that may be a potential downside for you. But as stated, we do have a macro mode instead. So close-up shots look great. We have a 20 megapixel front camera housed in that pop-up with the flashy blue light. And let me know what you think of these smoking selfies. Apologies for the model. The 6.67 inch Full HD Plus Super AMOLED display is really nice for media consumption and gaming, and it contains an in-display fingerprint scanner. The only place I feel the display really lacks is in brightness at only 500 nits. That doesn't mean it's dull, you can still view it outside, it's just not Samsung Galaxy OnePlus 8 Pro sort of level. And one more thing display-wise to consider is the fact that we have a 60Hz refresh rate and not a 90, 120, 144 Hz that we are starting to see creep into the smartphone market. So a year or two ago, 60Hz is all we knew, but the top flagship phones are now starting to pump this higher refresh rate. If you're used to high refresh rates, that may seem like a bit of a downgrade to you. If you're not and you're only used to 60Hz, well, then you won't notice any different. It's running Android 10 with MIUI 11 over the top, which is Xiaomi's skin, but it's MIUI for Poco, so it basically has a Poco launcher on it, which I actually prefer to the standard MIUI because it feels more like stock Android. This is of course one of the main differences from the Redmi K30 Pro that runs off straight MIUI 11. And the other main difference between the Poco F2 Pro and the Redmi K30 Pro is network provider band compatibility, because the Redmi K30 Pro is more angled at the kind of Chinese market, the Poco F2 Pro is more of a global European market angle, if that made any sense, the way I worded that. 4,700 mAh battery capacity, which has given me an all-day battery, and it charges from 0 to full in just over 1 hour using the 30-watt fast charger. There is no wireless charging, there is no IP68 rating, for example. I suppose they've got to cut corners somewhere to get it under the 500 price bracket. So my overall first impressions of the Poco F2 Pro are really pretty good. And if high refresh rate displays, an IP rating and wireless charging aren't massively important to you or essential to you, then definitely one of the best phones you can pick up right now. Now, I've actually been sent 2 Poco F2 Pro phones, so I will be giving one of them away to one lucky person. All you have to do to enter is simply follow me on my other 3 social media channels, Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook. Links to those will be left in the video description below, and simply retweet the tweet that I put out on this giveaway. Does that sound like a plan to you? Good, let's do this. Let me know in the comment section below what you think of the Poco F2 Pro and what phones do you want to see it compared to. Let me know again below and I will try to make those videos for you. Like and share if you enjoyed the video and found it helpful. Subscribe and hit the notification bell if you're new to the channel and want to be notified every time I post a video on anything tech, news, unboxings, reviews. I love you and leave you. I'll see you in the next one. So ASBYT. Too quick? Probably.